Hi, I'm Mel's best friend, and this is my 11th episode of Hack Party. Like, my actual 11th episode of Hack Party. My April Fool's video I jokingly said was my 11th episode of Hack Party, although obviously it's not actually. As there's no known way to unban a Switch if it gets banned from online play. Some people say it will never happen, but I disagree with those people. I think I can do it. I think I can make my way to unban a Switch. I'll tell you when it's ready. But, sorry for going off on that tangent, sine, cosine, secant, cosecant, and cotangent. I'm just gonna get into the tutorial now. So today we're gonna be showing you how you can have both Android and Ubuntu on the same SD card for your Switch. I know, right? That sounds amazing. Trust me, it is amazing. So I'll put the links in the description to download the files. First thing you want to download is the gzipped disk image of Android. Make sure you download the one for your, what was I saying? Oh yeah, make sure you download the one for your SD card, meaning download the one that's the correct size. You could download one for a smaller SD card, you'll just have to fill the space later. But don't try downloading the one for a bigger one, it's not gonna work. So yeah, just so you know, I already did this, so I'm not gonna do it. You type in gzip-d-c, and then the path to the gzip disk image, pipe sudo dd-of equals. You're gonna have to open the disks to see the device node. As you can see, for me it's /dev/sdb /dev/sdb, and I recommend putting in bs equals 256m. Sorry, it's my phone's notification sound that you hear in the background. So yeah, bs equals 256m, status equals progress. It's gonna ask you to put in your password, but yeah. Once you put in your password and hit enter, it should start. It will take some time to complete, depending on like the speed and size of your SD card. And one thing I wanted to mention is that this tutorial, one thing I forgot to mention about this tutorial is that this tutorial is assuming that your computer runs a Debian-based Linux distro, as this tutorial is made for Debian-based Linux distros like Ubuntu, for example. Like, I'm running Ubuntu on my computer right now. So yeah, make sure you're running a Debian-based Linux distro, and not like some operating system like macOS or Windows. It's not gonna work if you do that. Especially not Windows. But yeah, you hit enter, it would ask for your password. I already did it, so I'm not going to do it again. And now, let's see here. Next thing you want to do is open gparted. If you don't have gparted installed, you can just install it with sudo apt-get install gparted. Like, it's that simple. Sudo apt-get install gparted. Like, you literally just use the apt-get command, which is used to install pretty much anything, and use it, and set the thing you're installing to gparted. Like, it's literally that simple. Just sudo apt-get install gparted. That's simple. Okay, ignore that. That's my computer's hard drive. It's Spanish subtitles. Spanish subtitles is a reference to a time when one of my teachers put on a video with Portuguese subtitles, and she said, ignore the Spanish subtitles, and I said, that's not Spanish. Because, like, yeah. I was saying that because I'm saying you should ignore it, like how she said you should ignore the Spanish subtitles. So you see, what you want to do is, you should only see 7 partitions if you haven't done this yet. I have 8 partitions because I've already done it. So you want to unmount your 7th partition. That's the one that contains your data for, this one that contains your apps, save data for apps, and someone that contains your apps, save data for apps, and files that don't require root to get to on Android. Resize/move, and create space for Ubuntu. Like if you want to give Ubuntu 48 gigabytes of space like I did, then go to free space following, and so I did 48 gigabytes. So what I did is, you see it's asking for megabytes. So here's what you do to convert that. You do 48 times 1024, and that's what you put into free space following. As you can see, it's not letting me do it because I have too much space taken up, so I'm just going to cancel because I already did it. And then you create a partition from that space. Make sure you make it, actually I guess you don't need to make it ext4, but like it's going to be ext4 once you're done with this process. And you know what, just for fun, I'm gonna, let's see, where is it? What? Okay. Just for fun, I'm gonna remount this partition, just for fun. And then new partition you've created, you need to, so here's what you need to do with the new partition you've created. So go to where you downloaded your gzip disk image of Ubuntu. Let me see if I can find it. Oh, by the way, I was unable to get this working with the newest version of Ubuntu for Switch, so I used an old, outdated version. As you can see, this is the one I used. Not the one right next to it, but this one. And yeah, you want to extract this. I already did that, so I'm not going to do it again. csd.img is the file you should get. Double click it, and it should mount. And then you'll see this. Oh wait, one important thing I forgot to mention. One really important thing I forgot to mention. Once you unmount this, you can see its size. Your partition that you're putting Ubuntu on has to be the same size as or bigger than this. It cannot be smaller. If you try making it smaller, you're just going to corrupt things. So once you have this attached, note this device node here. So next what you do is, again, we're using dd again. Sudo dd if equals /dev/ what was the device node for this again? Oh yeah, loop 10p2. Wait, did I type it in right? Yeah, I did. And then of equals, and device node for new partition you made, which in my case is /dev/sdb8. bs equals, not 512, how about 256m status equals progress. And you would hit enter and wait for it to flash. Won't take as long as the previous flash did. And then when it's done, you close out, and you should notice that the information about this changed a little bit. And then this step is important. Don't forget it. Go back into gparted. Let's switch to our SD card, and gparted should show like one of these warning symbols it shows here for your 8th partition. That's because not all the space is being taken up by the file system. Not all the space of the partition is taken up is being taken up by the file system. So you can fix that by right-clicking the partition, unmounting it, and after you unmount it, choose check. And then, like always, when you use gpart, you have to apply your operations. Like always, you have to do that. Just like before, you have to apply the operations. And then close out of gpart when you're done. And now this step is really important. Do not skip it. You do sudo gdisk /dev/sdb. That's considering your SD card is /dev/sdb. It won't always be, but in my case it is. As you can see, ask for your password. You do R and then H. And then I think what I did was I did 1 and then 8. And then I say no to that. Do EE. And or is that wait, because the hex code you're supposed to use is EE, all I can say is hex code you're supposed to use, V, hex code you're supposed to use. That's how you spell the name of a Pokemon. EV. That's funny. Choose no. Leave this as default. Say no. Say no to this too. And then do W. I'm not going to do this as I will ask you if you really want to do it. Choose yes. I mean, hit Y and then hit enter. But I'm not going to do this since I already did this. And yeah. So, remember, that step is really important. Your Switch will fail to read the SD card if you don't do that step. And then what you want to do is open... Wait a sec. Hang on a sec. I'm going to unmount that loop device because I don't need it anymore. There we go. It's kind of bothering my OCD because, in case you don't know, I have OCD. So, open 2.1 gigabyte volume. This is where you have your stuff stored. Wait, no. Why did I unmount that loop device? I wanted to keep it mounted. I'm so dumb. I wanted to keep that loop device mounted. So there's one last step we have to do with it. There it is. CC. Wait, nah. Don't copy from the loop device on second thought. On second thought, don't copy from the loop device. On second thought, you should copy from one of the updates to it. Where's that update? I know I have it stored somewhere on my computer. Oh, here it is. So, drag it, like, select by clicking this, and then control, and then click the other one to select both of them. Go in here, drag these two files in here. I already did it, so I'm not going to do it again. And then what you want to do is you want to download the latest version of Hecate. Drag and drop the bootloader folder, or just copy and paste. And I'm not gonna do it because I already did it. And this payload.bin file is here. These files are here from like when I installed something on Android. This payload.bin file is here because my Switch is hard modded in a way where this payload.bin file, it boots from that when I turn on my Switch because it has a mod chip in it that makes it boot into the payload whenever it's in RCM, which I know sounds really nice, but yeah, it actually does break a few USB related features, but still, it's still worth it, I think. And then what you want to do is, no, not desktop, I wanted to go here. So I have made a custom, let me see if my code is right. Yeah, it is. So I've made a custom boot.scr, copy it, and paste it into a folder called L4T Ubuntu. You'll notice that there are two files with .scr in their name. Delete this one and rename the other one to boot.scr, which I know is the name of this one, but yeah. So basically replacing this one. And then, you know what I recommend doing as well? I recommend giving it a nice icon. I'll put a link to the BMP in the description. You see this file name L4T.bmp? That's my icon for Ubuntu. And yeah, one thing I did was I renamed this to have 01 in it. I don't know if you need to do that or not. I just thought I should do it because this one is 00. This one also has 00. I thought I should probably rename this one to 01. Don't know if that's what you're supposed to do or not. It's what I did though. And then you should also have the Android files on there from when you flash the image from Android. And so if all this has been done correctly, you just need to unmount your SD card and plug into your Switch, and I'll see you on the Switch. Remember what I said about how my Switch is hard modded? That's why my Switch just automatically goes into the payload like that, because it's hard modded. And let's see, where do I go? More configs, switch root Android, to show you that Android works. Then I'll show you Ubuntu working after I show you Android working. So yeah, one thing I have to do with this is I have to tap fast because I actually have the April Fool's version of Hecate on this. You know, the one in my video I jokingly said could unban your Switch, but it actually can't. Because like if you tap fast enough, you can actually use the April Fool's version of Hecate like you would with a normal one. You can actually do that if you tap fast enough. Like tap fast enough for a Rickroll thing to not show up. That's actually possible. Like the buttons are still there. So it's not really a fake version. Give it a sec, it usually takes a while. Okay. Sorry, it's just the fingerprints and everything. That's why I wiped the screen like that. And you can see the Lineage OS boot animation, because, you know, Lineage OS is the custom ROM that this Android is based off of. Yeah, it's pronounced Lineage OS. I know the word is spelled in kind of a weird way, but yeah, it's pronounced Lineage. Like the lineage of Unix-based operating systems. Which I think might be where its name comes from. I don't know for sure, but that might be where its name comes from. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that might be where its name comes from, because Android is Unix-based. So I know Android is technically a Linux distro, so obviously it's Unix-based, that means. Sorry, it's taking a while to load. There we go, that's my notification sound. And you should be booted into Android. If this is your first time flashing, it'll put you in the initial setup screen. I'm not in the initial setup screen because I already did this. And one thing I recommend doing is flashing GApps, because flashing GApps actually makes it so you can do more things with it. I recommend doing that before your first boot. Like booting into TWRP by holding volume up on your first boot. And then doing that. Now let's go back into Hecate. So this time we're going to choose Ubuntu. Ubuntu boots a little faster than Android, you'll see. Like you saw, Android took a while to boot. Ubuntu won't take as long. Like you'll see a screen flash like that. That's normal. That's perfectly normal when the screen flashes like that. And there you go. You're now in Ubuntu. And yeah, it'll put you in the initial setup screen again if this is your first time doing it. It's not my first time, so yeah, it put me in the login screen instead. So this is Mel's Back's friend signing off.